What if the man she dreams about is the one who could also destroy her? What if the very qualities that make a man irresistible are the same ones that carry the power to break her? Freud would tell you, desire is rarely logical. The unconscious doesn't seek comfort. It seeks intensity, and intensity often comes wrapped in risk. The safe man, polite, predictable, always available, offers stability. He is the quiet harbor after the storm. But passion isn't born in still waters. It's forged in the undertow, where uncertainty, danger, and mystery collide. That's why, beneath the surface, many women are drawn to men who challenge them, unsettle them, and force them to feel more alive than they thought possible. This isn't about cruelty or abuse. It's about the primal recognition that life is fragile, and that those who dance closest to the edge radiate a certain magnetism. Freud might call it the collision of Eros, the life drive, and Thanatos, the pull toward destruction. The dangerous man embodies both. He is the spark of creation and the shadow of ruin. Look at myths, films, and history. The outlaw who defies kings, the revolutionary who risks everything, the rogue who refuses to bow. These men are never background characters. They pull focus, they command attention, and even when their path leads to chaos, people follow. Not because they should, but because they can't help it. Here's the brutal truth. The mind often confuses adrenaline with attraction. The rush of uncertainty can feel like love, even when it's not. That's why the bad boy archetype is so powerful. He makes her heart race, and her unconscious labels that excitement as desire. Freud warned of this trap, trading long-term stability for the intoxicating high of short-term thrill. But the truly dangerous man, the one worth being, is not destructive without purpose. His danger is controlled. He's unpredictable because he refuses to be tamed, not because he's unstable. He has his own code, his own mission, his own boundaries. And it's that combination, danger with direction, that makes him unforgettable. The question isn't just, how do you become dangerous? It's, how do you become dangerous in a way that builds instead of destroys? Because once you understand the difference, you stop chasing approval and start commanding respect. Let that sink in. Next, let's see why the archetype of the bad boy triggers something deep in the female unconscious, and how to wield that energy without losing yourself. Desire doesn't trade in logic. It trades in intensity. Freud believed the unconscious is primitive, untouched by modern manners or polite morality. It wants what makes the pulse quicken, even if it defies reason. And risk, above almost anything else, creates that quickening. The so-called bad boy offers more than rebellion. He offers a surge, a chemical cocktail of dopamine, adrenaline, and norepinephrine that the brain interprets as significance. It's why unpredictable men stand out in a crowd. Not because they are better men, but because their presence makes the world feel heightened, almost cinematic. In the 1920s, a young heiress in Paris was engaged to a wealthy banker her family adored. On paper, he was perfect, respectable, secure, and unimaginably safe. But during a masked ball, she met a man who was the complete opposite, a penniless painter with paint on his hands and fire in his eyes. He spoke to her like she was an equal, not a possession. He told her he didn't believe in forever, only in moments so intense they felt like they might burn the world down. Within weeks, she left her fiancé, knowing it would scandalize her entire family. Years later, she admitted she never stopped thinking about him, even though they only had 6 months together. Freud would say she wasn't simply choosing a man, she was choosing the feeling he gave her. Safety was a cage, danger was freedom. This is repetition compulsion in action, the unconscious drive to recreate old wounds in the hope of finally resolving them. If a woman's early emotional blueprint tied love to volatility, then volatility feels like home. The dangerous man becomes the stage on which she unconsciously tries to settle a debt from the past. There's also projection. The dangerous man is often a blank canvas with sharp edges. His mystery invites imagination. She fills in the blanks with her own fantasies. Strength, dominance, protection, redemption. To her unconscious, he becomes a symbol more than a person. In Freud's words, attraction is often the mind's theater, and every player carries a role they didn't choose. But not all danger is equal. Power without cruelty is magnetic. Danger without moral grounding is toxic. Controlled danger means a man can defy expectations, stand apart from the crowd, and assert himself without leaving chaos in his wake. It's the difference between the fighter who wins for glory and the one who fights to protect. If you want to be compelling without being destructive, this is the lesson. Keep the intensity, but channel it. Show that you can bend rules for purpose, not for chaos. Carry the tension of someone who could disrupt her world, but chooses when and why. That choice is what makes the difference between a passing thrill and a lasting impression. Intensity attracts. Reliability retains. If you master both, you stop being a character in someone else's drama and become the author of your own. Freud taught that who we become in love is shaped long before we understand love itself. Our earliest attachments, with parents, caregivers, the emotional weather of childhood, form blueprints our unconscious follows like a map. If a girl's first experience of love was tangled with chaos, unpredictability, or fear, then her mind will unconsciously seek that pattern again. This is not stupidity, it's survival. The unconscious tries to master old wounds by replaying them, hoping for a different ending. This is called repetition compulsion. Imagine a woman raised in a home where affection came wrapped in anger or absence. When she falls for a man who's calm and steady, her unconscious struggles to trust the unfamiliar. But when she meets a man who mirrors that volatility, the dangerous man, something stirs. It feels familiar, even if it's painful. Freud also spoke of the death drive, a pull toward dissolution, a shadow force alongside the life drive, eros. It's the urge that makes us seek not just pleasure, but sometimes destruction. The dangerous man embodies this tension. He's the spark that ignites life and the shadow that threatens to burn it all down. This is why some women are drawn irresistibly to men who challenge their safety. Because danger confirms they're alive. It breaks the numbness, it shatters the monotony, but it can also destroy. Breaking this cycle means recognizing it first. You can't fix another's unconscious script, but you can refuse to play the role they expect. You can model a new pattern, intensity with integrity, danger with discipline. Being dangerous isn't about chaos, it's about controlled power, choosing when to push boundaries and when to stand firm. It's the difference between destruction and creation. This is the crossroads where most men fail. They either become dull and predictable, or reckless and broken. The rare man learns to embody both fire and foundation. The dangerous man who builds, not burns. Think about that next time you face a choice. Be a spark that lights the way, or a flame that consumes everything. Danger doesn't mean chaos. It means controlled power. It's intensity with a purpose. If you want to attract women deeply, not just for a night, but for respect and real desire, you need to master controlled danger. Start with presence. Presence is magnetic. It's not about shouting or dominating. It's about being fully in the moment. When you own your space quietly and confidently, you become impossible to ignore. Speak with intention. Move with purpose. Listen like you mean it. Presence signals strength without force. It says, I am here, I am real, and I'm not pretending. Next, embrace mystery, but wisely. Don't spill everything about yourself at once. Let her discover parts of you slowly. Mystery pulls her in, creating tension that fascinates, but unpredictability must come from principle, not mood swings or instability. Consistency within unpredictability is key. It's the difference between a man who is intriguing and one who is unreliable. Take risks, but smart ones. Risk your comfort for growth, not drama. Pursue goals, adventures, and challenges that expand your life. Risk shows you're alive. But reckless risk just screams chaos. Controlled danger is risk with direction and discipline. It says, I live on my terms, but I'm not reckless. This kind of risk invites respect and curiosity, not fear. Boundaries are essential. The dangerous man knows what he will and won't accept. He respects himself enough to walk away when necessary. Boundaries aren't walls. They protect your values and energy. They create respect, not distance. They communicate that you will not be manipulated or disrespected, and that is magnetic in itself. Control your temper. Anger is a tool, not a weapon. Use it deliberately, not impulsively. A man who keeps his fire in check commands respect far more than one who rages. Calm intensity beats loud explosions every time. Temper controlled is power unleashed. Temper uncontrolled is power wasted. Finally, combine all this with purpose. A man who is dangerous because he stands for something, a vision, a mission, is magnetic. Danger without purpose is destruction. Danger with purpose is power. Purpose channels your energy, giving it direction and meaning. Be the man who's both the storm and the shelter. The man who shakes the world but holds his center. The man who attracts because he's dangerous and disciplined. The man who can ignite passion without burning bridges. That is controlled danger. That is true magnetism. Romanticizing danger is easy. It's a story told in movies, songs, and whispered warnings. The wild man who can't be tamed, the reckless lover who breaks every rule. It feels thrilling, intoxicating, a kind of dark poetry. But Freud reminds us that desire alone doesn't build, it can also destroy. The price of chasing danger without discipline is chaos, broken trust, fractured hearts, and a trail of regret. Women drawn to the dangerous man risk emotional turbulence, and men who mistake volatility for value burn bridges instead of building foundations. This doesn't mean you reject danger altogether. It means you redefine it. Danger isn't a reckless flame. It's a focused fire. It's power wielded with wisdom. It's intensity balanced with integrity. True strength is not about breaking rules blindly. It's about knowing which rules to bend, when to push, and when to hold firm. It's about mastering your impulses so that danger becomes your tool, not your curse. Women want dangerous men, not chaos, but controlled fire. They want the man who is unpredictable enough to stay interesting, but stable enough to be trusted. Who challenges her, but never betrays her. Who ignites passion without destroying peace. You can be that man, but only if you first conquer the danger inside yourself. Only when you tame the wildness of your impulses, channel your intensity, and live with purpose. The greatest danger is never external, it's internal. The man who cannot master himself is the man who will lose everything. So the question isn't whether you can be dangerous, it's whether you can be dangerous and disciplined, wild and wise, magnetic and masterful. That is the man women want. That is the man who commands respect. That is the man who owns his life. If you've found value in uncovering this brutal truth about attraction and human nature, then you're exactly who this channel is made for. For more hard-hitting insights into psychology, philosophy, and what it really takes to become a man worth following, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, don't miss what's coming next. It will challenge everything you think you know about yourself and the world around you. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. Subscribe and walk the path with us.